is the Maggie Morgan Show.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome once again to the Maggie Morgan Show. Hey, YouTubers. Thank you guys for tuning into tonight's show. It's a good one tonight, people of God. And as you can see from the title, it does say on the series of the joys and the woes of singlehood, it is single parents finding love. Okay, no, we're not matchmaking nobody here. Okay, we're because somebody be like, oh, I like that one on the left. This ain't that kind of show. You'll feel free to contact them by all means, but I ain't hooking you up with nobody. Okay, it ain't that kind of show. Okay, just a disclaimer, people of God. Okay. All right. So with that said, people of God, listen, welcome. We want to unpack single parents finding love and exactly what does that even look like? Is it even okay to, or do we need to wait until kids are older? What's the deal around there? Okay, so guys, thank you for being here. Kindly like, share, comment, get a single parent on here, whether they're a single parent by reason of maybe never married, maybe they're divorced, maybe they're a widower, maybe they are a widow, maybe they were in a long-term relationship and that didn't go all the way into marriage or whatever, or even it might be a guardian. Okay, that's still valid. Please bring them on here, okay? All right, and with that said, guys, we're jumping straight into it, and I'm just going to get my guests to say a quick hello to us, and we will just begin to unpack this beautiful topic. You may recognize the two other ladies on here, but before I get the ladies to say something, we're going to give the brother, okay, in our midst. Yes, absolutely. Forget the whole thing about ladies first. This time it's gentlemen first. Okay, we want to just give this brother a red carpet welcome, Mr. Oscar Mumia. Sir, you are welcome to the Maggie Morgan Show. Please, tell us your name, where you're tuning in from, and we'll get the ladies to come on right after you.
My name is Oscar Mumia. I'm from Mombasa. Yeah, I'm in logistics. I work with logistics company. Working in Mombasa.
All right. So Mombasa, Kenya. All right, y'all. I don't want to tell you how long ago I was in Mombasa, but hey, that's a story for another day. But please enjoy the sunshine and the food for me. Thank you, sir. All right, without further ado, let's welcome my two previous guests, these wonderful women of God. Yes, wonderful women of God. You may have seen them here. You may recognize Miss June Reeves, whom we had on Red Flags. Just an amazing story and powerful testimony. And some of y'all will remember her. She's the girl that said she was only married for 120 days. How did she do that? That's a story for another day. Go over to YouTube and find her story there, okay? Just search the Maggie Morgan Show and just scroll June Reeves. You'll find her there. It'll be somewhere around December/January, okay? June, want to say hey to everybody?
Yes. Hi, everyone. June Reeves here. Humbled to be on the show again. Thank you, Maggie.
Awesome. Where are you tuning in from, huh?
Oh, from Nairobi, Kenya.
Nairobi! Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Glory to God. Last but not least, the beautiful woman of God, Ahi Antonia, is here. And guys, you may remember her from Escaping Trauma, Abusive Relationships. She was here actually twice as a panel on the panel that we had a couple of months ago. And then she came in and she took an amazing, powerful story. Ahi, you are welcome, sis. Come on in, tell us a little bit about you and say hey to everybody. Go ahead, sis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahi Antonia. I'm an author, a certified marriage mentor, and a relationship coach. I am tuning in from London, England. Thank you.
Yeah, we are in London. That's where it's happening. Awesome. Okay, people of God, I'm going to throw it out to Miss Ahi, and I'm going to just say to her, sis, what is it like as a single parent, finding love, what are the things that are going through your head? I mean, are you even in that space where you would say, yes, I would like to find love? And like I said, people, this is not a matchmaking show. We're just talking about the dynamics of all that.
Okay, thank you so much for allowing me to talk first. Yes, so I would say for me, as a lady, I don't think I'm in the space where I'm finding love.
Right.
I know that may sound a bit weird in this our generation. Like I see a lot of people, a lot of ladies proposing to guys, asking guys out and stuff like that. But I think for me, I think it's important that we understand the season where we are in at every point in time. For me, I feel like since my divorce, one thing I have told myself is I'm not going to rush into something else. I wanted to get healed first and focus on God. And whether it is, however it takes for God to bring the right person, I will just be doing what I'm supposed to be doing in every season of my life.
Right.
So I'm not necessarily finding love, but I'm open to whatever God brings my way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit different for guys because guys are the hunters, right?
Right.
For us, we receive what comes to us, and then we have to discern if it's of God or not. So in terms of meeting people, I have met quite a few guys and have dated quite a few of them, but none of them have been the ones that I have literally said, okay, these ones have the criteria that I would like for my husband to have. That I can I submit to this person? Can this person mentor my children? Is he like a role model for my kids? So I haven't met that person yet. But I mean, at this point, I'm not like in the place where I'm like, okay, that guy, could it be the one? Could it be the one? No, I'm just focused on what God wants me to do. And as I'm doing that, I'm finding joy and peace and everything else. I think that's the most important thing for me. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, before I move over to Miss June, sis, can you just tell us how many children you have? So
I've got two. I've got a 17-year-old and almost 16. He'll be 16 in December, sorry. So my kids are quite grown. They look like my siblings, by the way. People don't believe when I tell them my children. They're like, are you kidding me? Yes, they are my kids, yeah.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, and they're quite tall as well.
17 and 16.
Almost 16, yeah.
Almost 16.
Yeah.
Because that almost for a teenager is everything.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
he's already claiming 16 anyway. So let's just say he's 16. Yeah.
So technically a 15-year-old and a 17 going on 18. That should be 18 next year. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for saying what you just did. But before I even throw it over to Miss June, sis, you just said something there that's just profound. So you said that one thing that you're doing right now is you want to concentrate on healing, because obviously nobody comes out of a marriage and there's hurt in there. And if you ever heard the explanation they give for divorce, they say it's almost like, taking two pieces of whatever paper that are glued and you try to separate them. And obviously there's damage. And they do say that there is something that happens to either party, wrong or right, whatever, whoever was at fault or yada, 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 and all that we know that goes with divorce. You said something so profound that there is a time for healing and you're not ready to rush that. Even though while you are healing in all, whoever has come your way, you've also gauged, discern to see, are they who that you would want to be with?
Yeah, I'm just going to add, I'm just going to add to what you just said. Yeah. And it's very important that people know that healings are at different stages. So I have been divorced now for 10 years. So It's taken a long journey. Yeah. So, but I would say the way that I am right now is completely different from the way I was back then. You see, I can talk about my story without crying. I can talk about my story without feeling bad. I can talk to him, my ex, regarding the kids without feeling a type of way. So we've gone past that stage. So I think it's very important that people understand. I don't think even if it takes another 20 years to be single, there'll still be some parts of you that would make you always remember the person. So you're not going to be fully healed, before you meet the right person. I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there, because they used to have the scars. But you're going to forgive but not completely forget, you see. But I mean, I think the healing is at different stages. Yeah.
Totally. I so love that. Miss June, what are your thoughts? Where you're at right now in your journey as a single parent who could potentially, look to be with somebody else? And it doesn't mean just because you were married 120 days that it's all over for you.
Yeah, I do believe it's not all over for me, but I'm not. I'm not actively searching for love. Like, I'm not in that particular season, like actively searching for it.
Yeah.
I think I've reached a point where I know that according to the Bible, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So I expect the guy to find me, not me to find love.
Right.
Not me to find him, right? So he needs to find me. Again, even if he finds me, he needs to be ordained by God, because I made a mistake once. I don't want to make a mistake again, because marriage is serious business. Yeah. So I haven't been going on dates or anything, because I don't believe in dating, just going out there and just having coffee with people that I may lead them on and it's not going anywhere. So I'd rather not date you completely until I'm sure that maybe that something can actually lead to something, like we can get serious and all. So so that's where I am right now.
It sounds amazing. Adam, do you want to jump in before I say something and bring in Mr. Oscar?
Okay, so I think that I would like to ask how they deal with pressure, like not their own pressure, but the societal pressure, parents here and there, and people in your life constantly just trying to fix you up with someone. How do you deal with that?
Any one of y'all?
I've had a fair share of that. I've had people just, I think those were the many dates that I have been on.
Okay.
Where people just think, okay, this person is nice, you're nice, if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have even gone ahead. Because I like what June said, you just don't want to date just for dating's sake.
Yeah.
You want to hear from God, you want to be sure that this person is the right person, otherwise just wasting time. And time is so important, especially if you're called into ministry and you have things to do, like I am right now. I don't have time to be wasting on just some random person. So I need to know and have confirmations that you're the right person. So with pressure, in terms of pressure, yes, there will be, definitely. I've experienced that, but now people don't have to tell you what to do. I mean, you can suggest someone and thank you very much. Then it's still on my part to pray and ask God if this is a person or not. And that's it. Yeah.
I think that whole pressure from society or loved ones around us, that will always be, because I think we looked at it even for those who've never been married, or even those that are just, in their mid-20s, in their 30s, mid-30s. God forbid you are approaching the big 4-0. Oh my God.
That's me next year. Were you talking to me directly?
You're right. Right. But it's so good. You hold your fort so well, sis. Congratulations. Good for you. And I was saying something to June, was it over text message, I think yesterday or the day before, and we said, oh my God, look at how the transition, because you can't come from where you're coming from and you want to repeat your mess all over again. Guys, we got to bring in this wonderful brother. The brother, he's here. I said to him, no pressure, but you are better represent all the brothers, considering Minister Israel is not here today. Mr. Oscar, God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. Now, as a single parent, where are you at, sir? What's your deal?
Wow. Okay, mine is a bit tricky, like very earlier said about the pressure, society pressure, and whatever. For men, it's a bit tricky. My daughter is 14 years. She's 14 years, and being a single parent has given me a lot of strength. It has given me a lot of courage. Nowadays when I walk to the supermarket, I'm able to pick pads, I'm able to pick pant liners. Like you're walking around picking those stuff. I'm picking for my daughter, so it makes you prouder of being a father.
Wow.
But now being single parent is being single is challenging, especially for men. Like women can maintain. I've been single from 2020.
Wow.
That's when we broke up with my wife.
Okay.
After we lost our kid, and my wife walked away. We were married for 5 years.
Okay.
So being single, along the way, I was like, no, I cannot just be like this. So I tried to get someone. The way Juna said, random dating, and it didn't work. It didn't even go for 2 months. I think it was for a month, and everything had backfired, and I was like, no, I'm not able to go through this again. Because you're expecting someone to be perfect, but the previous pain and what you went through is still ringing in your head. So anything small it does that reminds you of the person who went away, it triggers your anger, it triggers your silence, and I was like, no, even if she's wrong, I think I'm not ready, because I might victimize her on someone else's mistake. So I opted out. I told her, no, let me chill first. I think it's better I just be friends, and that is it. So we broke up. So we just separated. I told her, she walked away. And the one thing I realized, she was also a single parent.
Okay.
And she had gone through a lot in her life, her past. So she had not healed. She had this anger that and something small could trigger, she becomes angry, starts shouting.
Right.
So I felt like two people who are still healing, they cannot do anything. So I opted to be single. Let me just raise my daughter. I think
that's so powerful what you said. That obviously for you, it's for Ehi. I know, she's got a daughter and a son. June's got her daughter. But for you here, you now have a daughter, and you are having to shop for her, her sanitary towels and all that stuff. And, kudos to you, sir, by the way, because that's just so bold. That's so bold of you. That you're just disregarding it. You're like, look, this is my child. I can do this for her. But I like what I'm hearing from the three of y'all. That place of healing is so important. It is so important, because what I even heard you say, Mr. Oscar, is the fact that because of the previous hurt, anything that the potential person that comes into your life, they could end up having to pay for mistakes that have absolutely nothing to do with them, because those wounds are so raw still. So really, anyone out there that you're a single parent or you've been in a long-term relationship, hear it from these guys. It's imperative that you heal first. You've got to be healed up. And I love what Ehi said. She said, healing is in stages. That even if it's going to be, even if it's 10 years from now, she'll still be healing, because there are certain things that God is still working out. Oh, amazing. Amazing. But guys, let me ask this before Adam jumps in, and anyone can answer this question, you guests on here. How does the whole healing how does your healing now as the single parent affect your children?
Our healing now, the healing, how it affects our kids is, you need to make choices for yourself and for your kids. So as you heal, you also look at your kids. What am I'm getting into? Because sometimes you can be talking to somebody and you're like, you know what? You try to gauge someone, and someone is telling you like, you know, I don't think like I've ever thought of dating someone who has a kid. So along the way, as you heal, you should also be thinking, as I'm healing, am I taking this pain to my kid? Am I seeing my kid as the mother was, or as the father was? I think we should exclude our kids from the pain of the father. If the father wants to see the kid, or the mother wants to see the kid, you let them go. Like me, the other day, the mother, my ex called me, and she was like, she wants to go and visit the grave of our son, because when our son passed away, she didn't go back to there at home. She didn't even sleep at home. She left the same day. So after burying our kid, so I think that thing has been affecting her, because previously when I was trying to get over everything, I was posting my kids' photos. June can testify. She normally sees my status. So I used to post my kids' photos, and then she will see them and she reacts, starts getting angry. Why are you posting the kid? You should let the kid rest. I'm like, this is the way I'm healing from my past, from the loss of the kid.
Yeah.
So last month she called me and she was like, I want to go and visit the grave of our son. And I was like, okay, because myself, I said, because I'm healing, I can't tell her no, it will bring another confrontation. So I told her, you proceed, go at home. There are people at home. They let you in. You'll go into the grave, pray if you want to pray, and then you can leave. If it will make you okay, it's okay. So I think, and my daughter, throughout the breakup and what, I really thank God, because she has never stood and asked me what happened. Like, because I think I feel she's not ready for me to start explaining to her so much. So I try not to tell her about this what happened or this why she left. Because we never had any fight. So if we had fights, it will be like, maybe that was wrong or whatever. But she doesn't understand what happened. She has never asked. So I think during that healing period, we should exclude our kids. If they want to see the father, let them see the father. If they want to see the mother, let them see the mother. I think that will also give us peace, because if a woman is trying to ask you to see the kid and you are refusing, I think she will now start creating drama, calling you in the middle of the night, coming or maybe at your workplace, going to school to see the kid by force. So I think we should
that would be disruptive.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be disruptive. So agree with you, sir, on that one. Yeah. So it's really your healing is really going to affect how you also parent, I guess. Yeah. And also just so that you're not taking that baggage from whatever it is that you have gone through and letting it affect your parenting. June, you're nodding your head. What are your thoughts, sis?
If you don't heal, you'll bleed on your kids, right? And various ways, through anger. Maybe when you're disciplining your child, you might just maybe it might be more, you might release more anger towards them, right? Because you've not healed, right? So you definitely need to take a deliberate action to heal, even if it's go for therapy and all that, because you'll definitely bleed on your kids. And again, your kids remind you of your ex. They will forever remind you of your ex, because they are there, right? So sometimes you might look at, even like my daughter, she looks exactly like my ex-husband. So I needed to heal so that when I look at her, I don't see my ex-husband all the time. But so if you don't heal, you'll bleed on your kids, definitely.
If you don't heal, you will bleed on your children. Amazing. And he says, you're the one on here who's been divorced the longest and come further along in your healing journey. How has that been for your children, sis?
I always say the people who know you the best are your children. They journey with you through all the phases of life, because they've been with you for a long time, especially my kids. You know, my daughters always say, Mom, we go and get married. Just get married. And I think because they've seen me transition from different stages and different seasons,
Right.
So initially my daughter, she acts like or looks like her dad, same as what she said. But we're like best friends. There are people who have naturally this kind of personality to pass aggression to someone. I'm not that kind of person, so that is an advantage. But I would say I think when you were healing in terms of how it affects your children, I think it's important, like just like June said, it's very important that we seek counsel, and therapy is so important. And not even the fact that you bleed on your children, you bleed on everybody around you. There are people who are still carrying bitterness, and it's been how many years? I know people who have been divorced before me, and they are still carrying bitterness, and it's really sad, because I think one thing people should do is just be true to who you, like, what are you dealing with? Why are you having this emotion? Why are you feeling this type of way? And get therapy, get help. That helps with the journey as well of healing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Adam, jump in, sis, before I ask something that I wanted to ask. Seeing that everyone on here is pretty, we're all Africans on here, but in different parts of the world. So you can imagine what my next question is going to be. But Adam, before I say anything, go ahead, sis. Go ahead, jump in.
Thank you so much, Mom. Okay, so I'm going to ask about the guilt. Do you think that I mean, like, maybe you've met someone and you guys were working out. Did you ever feel a place where you were just like feeling guilty, like maybe I'm not supposed to have this type of joy in my life yet? That type of feeling where you're just like, no, let me zone out, how did you undo it? Because I feel like a lot of people have that feeling. They feel like their mistake still defines them. It can be a stage of healing and all that. So how did you get out from that place where you know that, okay, this does not define me, and I am worth every happiness I choose to pursue? Yeah, so that's my question. Anyone?
That's a good one.
I would say that your relationships don't define you, right? Your identity comes from God, does not come from your relationships. So the way like I dealt with my guilt after I went through therapy and all that, and I saw that the red flags or what I should have not, what I actually ignored before getting married, I actually released myself from that. I let go of that guilt and shame. And actually I learned from my mistakes. So when you make a mistake in life, you learn from it and make sure you won't be able to repeat it again. That's why I don't want to date around the fact that I already know the mistakes I did. So if I'm going into another relationship, I'm not going to repeat the same thing. So my relationships don't define me. It's God who defines who I am.
Awesome.
I want to add a question. Like, I want to add like a part B. Do you think that there's ever been a time where you actually self-sabotaged a relationship? The relationship was promising, but you just sabotaged it because of what really happened, like something like that.
Yeah, because if you haven't healed again, you definitely will self-sabotage. Sometimes you do it unconsciously because you're trying to look for love in a place you're not supposed to get it, or you're trying to look for happiness in a place you're not supposed to get it, because your significant other shouldn't make you happy and all that. The happiness should come from God. So definitely, I've gone through that phase as well. Yeah.
Come on.
I think about sabotaging. I'll say myself. I think I sabotaged it when I realized that this thing was not going anywhere. Like I told you, the lady that I decided to date, there's a time I'll come from work and maybe we meet over for coffee, and then she comes over to my place. We have a chat, dog. Then I come and realize she was trying to investigate me. Like she went even asked me about my ex name, whatever. I told her this was my ex name, and then she proceeded to social media. She looked for her. They started chatting. I didn't know. So by the time I realized like this person, they are chatting with my ex, she called me. She came to my place one day. Then she started crying. Then I was like, okay, why are you crying? She was like, oh, now that you don't love me the way you loved me before. Then I was like, what shows that? Then I felt like, okay, sometimes when you go through so much, you come and then those emotions go away. You don't have, like, something can happen, you just look at somebody. So when I told her, if you finish crying, you come over, we talk. So I went outside the house with the balcony, then she came with the bag, told me, I'm leaving. I told her, okay, you go, we talk when you're free. Then she calls me, she's like, I called your ex, and your ex told me, we chatted with the ex and told me that you are just a quiet person, you are not able to solve things out, that's why she walked away. Then I was like, you know what, because you've spoken to my ex without me knowing behind my back, and I think this thing is done. But she's trying to come out with the issues. So I didn't mind, I just called it off.
Yeah.
And I felt it was not working, and he was trying to define me by what my ex told me.
Right.
And I think
which is wrong. Which is wrong. You just don't do that. Yeah.
This relationship not define you. Let your past not define you. So for me, he tried to define me with my past, because even my first daughter, the mother of my first daughter, we didn't break up. We decided to get married when my daughter was 2 years. So she gave me my daughter when my daughter was 2 years. So I've raised that girl until right now it's 14 years. My daughter has come to see her mom after 11 years. That's when the mother appeared again.
Wow.
So you see, like, she was telling me, like, oh, your ex told me that mama, the mother to your daughter, you are not present, you are not giving her time. I told her, this woman, you will never seen each other for 11 years. She came the other day to see her daughter. So I think, let nobody define you. Let your past not define you. Let the relationship that you are in not define you. You should let God define you, as Jonah said, and you should be able to define yourself. Accept what you are, and don't bend on some things that you feel you cannot bend on.
Yeah. That's a good one. Ahi, you want to add something to that? To Adam's question, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I was just going to say that identity is very important. Knowing who you are in Jesus, knowing who you are in your, embracing what God has said you are. That's a very good standpoint. Don't let people define you. Don't let relationships define you. Yeah. I mean, I talk about this in my book as well. You can't put the burden of being happy on someone. That's not fair. You know. And I think as well, I don't know how to explain this, but I just feel like there's so many people who do this. There's so many relationships where I hear people say, oh, he makes me feel very happy, or she makes me feel very happy. Yeah. And it's just like the common thing now. Everybody's looking for happiness in relationships.
Yeah. So to drive back to Adam's question, there's where she said, do you feel like there are some relationships that could have worked out, but you self-sabotage because you were like, guilt of, no, I shouldn't. I feel like I'm cheating on my children, or or what's a good one now? Or I just, I shouldn't have how you said it, Adam, you said you shouldn't have this much joy.
Joy, yeah.
Funny enough, I never experienced that at all.
Yeah.
I think the people I went on dates with were just, let me hear. And then this is how I do mine. I go on a date with you, and then I say, give me some time to pray about it. And then I tell God, if this is not your will, even if it's going to hurt me, just break it. And it's almost like an immediate answer. They start changing. I start seeing them for who they truly are. It's almost like my eyes just get open. I'm like, what? Yeah. And then, so I've never really had that experience. So for me, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So talking to, if you were to advise your younger selves, okay, guys, if you were to advise your younger selves, okay, now that you are a single parent, because you were not always a single parent, you were, you were co-parenting with your, your partners, your husbands or your wives in Oscar's case, right? So if you were to talk to that person then that felt like it is all over if you were to raise the children on your own, because let's be honest, there is that level of, there's a bit of fear in everything that we do. Let's be honest, right? Even people who are about to get married, they say there's this thing that's called cold feet. It's valid, right? So, you know, if you were to say anything to that one, and everybody on here, I believe, is divorced because of their unique whatever's circumstances surrounding your divorces, and we're not looking for y'all to come and tell us your, you know, personal stuff on here and that sort of thing. But for people like June and Ehi that have been on the show before and they've unpacked how they got to where they are now, especially for you two sisters, let me ask you this: the person that you are now as a single parent, how do you feel that the transition from that young lady that was in this marriage but had that fear of being single parent? Because obviously you process, there's a place where it comes in your life and you're like, okay, looks like this thing is over now. I'm going to be a single parent. I'm going to be divorced. What would you say to yourself, to that person from where you are now? Does that make sense? So you're basically talking to the June 5 years ago or 2 years ago. And for you, Ehi, you're talking to the Ehi from, I guess, 11 years ago in your case. Girls, jump in, any one of y'all.
God has got you, and you have nothing to worry about. And what you just said is a very, very big deal. I think a lot of people settle with the wrong spouses because of the fear of the unknown. How would I, care for the children? How would I pay rent, the bills?
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're the kind of person, or if you were in a marriage where he was like the sole provider, or he had the most money, he paid the most bills.
Yeah.
And then a lot of marriages now, there are people who would want to go, but they will still stay in abusive marriages because they don't know how to fend for themselves. You know, that's what we try to encourage people to get to do something for yourself, learn a trade, do something, go to school, and just do whatever you need to do so that when that happens, you're able to. So so I think it's very important that I would say to that my younger self, do not worry, God has got you. Yes, the road will be rough, but you come out on the other side better than where you are right now. Yes.
I think so, because for you, sis, I mean, having read your book, and seeing the woman you've evolved into, oh my goodness, reading that first chapter of even how you were getting married, how you kind of felt in your heart, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then, but look at this beautiful woman, not just facially beautiful, but just in character and just the grace in who you are, and even come into your own ministry, because I know you're doing amazing things for single parents in Nigeria. You're originally from Nigeria, right? Yeah. And you have a foundation now for single parents.
Yeah, single mothers.
Yeah, for single mothers, specifically single mothers.
Yes.
So there you go. So that Ehi that felt like she was helpless, she couldn't do nothing, this is the same Ehi now that is doing amazing things, supporting women, in Africa. Congratulations, sis.
Thank you so much.
I would like to ask a question. I'm sorry for jumping in. So I was going to ask you, so you're in ministry, you're actively in ministry. I want to ask you that, has there been any time that you actually met people who would look down on your calling because you're a single mom, and how did you handle that? Because that can be a big thing too.
Very good. That happens every time. That happened even this year. And that happened when God commissioned me to start what I'm doing right now. Yeah. But I thank God for the Holy Spirit, because it's one thing to know. That's why it's very important to know what you're doing and have that relationship and that intimacy with God, where you hear God clearly for yourself, regardless of whether anybody says whatever they want to say. I mean, I joined the church and I'm not going to mention the name of the church or whoever the person is, but I came across this group of people and I said I wanted to be involved in the the marriage and relationship ministry, because that's what I know, that's what I would like to serve. And the leader told me, I'm just gonna paraphrase what she said. You're not qualified. You still need to be healed.
Okay.
And this was the time.
And that was because of what? Did you have a placard or something written on your forehead that said?
Yeah, she said God told her. That's what she sensed in her spirit.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And at that point, that was very discouraging, because I'm at the point where I'm hearing God say, go to Africa and do this. And then I'm like, someone is saying this to me. Do I even qualify for what God is calling me to do?
Right.
You know? So thank God my spiritual father confirmed and said, God wants to do this. You were born for this. You have to do this. Yeah. And then confirmation started coming. For me, it was like more or less like a test to see if I was going to just say, you know what, I'm not doing this. Yeah. But I mean, you get that all the time. You will get to say, you cannot be married again because you've been divorced, but they don't even know your story. They don't know you. They don't know if the person even cheated on you, and the person tried to kill you. They don't know your story. They just tell you things like, you shouldn't get married anymore, because it would be a sin if you got married. So it's very, I get that all the time. But I think my focus is, because God is the one that's commissioned me to do what I'm doing. He's the one I'm reporting to, not to them.
Yeah.
And I've got mentors who are also like with me on this journey. So I'm not just doing things on my own. And if I was to make a mistake, I have mentors who would put me in line and tell me, this is what you're doing that you shouldn't be doing. So I've got that accountability. So I don't need to listen to what side all this talk. I'm very focused at this point in my life. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I would just like to put it out for people who are listening to this and you feel like you're in a mix and you add and you need more resource. There's this podcast they call the Snatchers podcast. Is a divorcee.
Make it louder. Make it louder, Adam, for everybody.
The Snatchers podcast.
The Snatchers podcast. I'm going to look that one up too.
Yeah, I'm going to send you the link. So it's a divorcee and someone who what they call a widower. So both of them got married and it's ordained by God. So they decided to do this podcast to just tell their story and to encourage people to find love.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that sounds amazing. June, I gotta come to you before we move on to Oscar, because I got a separate question for Oscar. But we were saying something about talking to the June of 5 years ago and that sort of thing, and the June that you are now. What would you say to June of 5 years ago, or even what are we, 2022? Yeah, or maybe even 2019, what would you say to her?
I'd say to her, God will never leave you nor forsake you. He will heal you. Yeah. I'll tell her that she doesn't have to stay in a toxic relationship in order to have a complete family. I'll tell her that, tell her that she will heal, and also her daughter, my daughter, will definitely heal and will be happy, definitely happy.
I just love what you just said there. Because I know your story. You're one of the things that drove you, into your marriage, even though you knew full well, because you come out and say, guys, I knew full well I should not have gotten married. I knew, and that's why, when it was over in 120 days, you were like, okay, great, done and dusted. Well, I knew I was going to get here. I didn't realize I was going to get here so soon, but hey, it is what it is. But in as much as that sounds funny, I know you did say one of the things that drove you into that marriage was the fact that there was this notion in your head that said, for you to have a perfect family, you've got to just be with this man.
Yeah.
The family unit, which you never had. So again, there was a childhood trauma that you needed to recover from, because you were raised by a single parent and you did not want that for your daughter. And so you were like, I just need to stay with this man despite the fact that this is a toxic relationship. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, June. Thank you so much for that. I absolutely love that. Adam, let me give you the honors to ask Oscar a question, because I kind of like been throwing the questions out at him. Feel free to ask him a question.
Okay, Mom. Thank you so much. Okay,
Sure.
so I'm going to ask him about I would really like to ask about the dynamics with his daughter, because teenagers have a way they interpret situations.
Yeah.
And how he's trying to come into that gap and help us see things clearly, not to see anybody as a bad person, but to help guard her mind. So, like, what are you really doing to help guard her mind so that she doesn't have this idea of love that looks like the other person lives? Yeah, that's my question.
Thank you for that question. I think thank you so much. I think the most important thing first is to at their age, or whatever you tell them right now, it will stick with them forever. So there are some topics that I basically avoid talking with her about my relationship, about our past. If she asks, it's okay, I will answer. If she doesn't ask, then it's okay. But up to now, I really thank God, because my mom is still there. So most of the time, she can go to her grandmother. And I have my nieces. My nieces are they're big. One is 25, another one is 23. So most of the time, if I feel like, if she feels like she can't be with me, she goes to my niece's place. She has that freedom. They talk a lot. So I think basically that one has really helped from channeling these questions of why are you still single? Why did you separate? I think she gets so occupied. One thing about kids, if she finds that it's just you and him or her, then you'll have this question, like, why, Dad, why are you not getting married? Why did Mom go? But if she finds another company that distracts her, then she grows the way. As long as you keep in touch with her, you try to make her feel comfortable, feel loved. The most important thing kids want to hear is, I love you. Don't even tell them that I'll give you this and this. No, just tell them, hi, Mom, how are you doing? How are you doing? Are you fine? Yeah, I love you so much. That one makes us smile. Don't let nobody like you that giving them gifts or explaining to them so much will make them comfortable. The affection that you give them is what makes them comfortable. So for me, I'll tell you, like, up to now, I think we are in a very good relationship with her. I always told her, if you want anything, ask me. And her really mom, when he came into her life, there was no chemistry with her, and the mother has tried to put so much pressure to come into her life. After 11 years, she's like, I wanted the pictures of my daughter when she's in a school uniform. I'm like, okay, get her something, get her shopping for the term, then you can go and take pictures with her. So, but my daughter doesn't even ask, like, when is Mom coming back? Because that chemistry was not there. And she was raised well, she was loved. And I think love is the most important thing. When you love her well, you won't have those questions.
Yeah. I love that.
Thank you so much,
Anna,
sir.
that's good. That's good, Anna?
Yes.
Amazing.
Can I ask a question to Oscar?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's fine. I've heard you say that you guys don't talk about, like, the separation or what happened, right, Oscar? Like, you guys don't talk about it. My question is, wouldn't that affect her in the future, like her perception about love, right? Like, if she knows love, right? Like, if she knows that this is how love goes, right? Like, get to a point, you guys disagree, you leave each other. So if you don't talk about it, doesn't that affect her in the future when now she's in her 20s? And in your 20s, that's when all these boys start seeing her and all that. What do you think about that?
Good question.
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. I think my side of seeing things, I feel like I communicate when her time is right for some part of life. Like right now, what I feel, the love that she's supposed to experience is fatherly love or parental love.
Yeah.
And when she reaches that age, at 18, now that's when now they start falling in love, or 17. Some now they just 17, let's say 17. Now just when they start falling in love and other stuff. Now that's when you sit down with them and you tell them, okay, this is me. This is what happened. We didn't fight, didn't cheat, we didn't do this. It just didn't work. But for you, it will work. So if you get someone who is serious, don't let you give him those red flags. You know, like I think wherever we are right now, we've seen so many red flags. We've had so many stories about the red flags. So when you sit with your daughter, you tell them, if this happens, if this man is not serious, if you get this man, bring him to me. Let's at least have a talk. I know this is the guy who is going out with my daughter. Then from there, he'll know that, okay, these things work. But if, for now, currently, I'm not saying if he'll be able to, because you said they shouldn't define somebody. So I'm not saying her relationship failing apart because of my past. I'm just saying, like, it will work, and I'll be able to be there for her when that time comes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to jump in on that question. Even though I feel like I don't know anything, I'm just plain honest. I think that a lot of things happen that happen in our subconscious actually starts from when we're small. And that's why it's important for us to talk about this stuff. It might appear like she's young and she's having a life together and everything, but sometimes our perception, sometimes when we are like 20, we can actually remember what happened to us when we're 5. Maybe somebody's calling us stupid, and that can be a stronghold in our mind. You understand? And we just have to go to therapy, unbox and everything. So I would just say that could be a way for you to just help her to check her mind right now. Like therapy. What does she think about love and things like that? Yeah. That's what I think.
I think Atom is very right, because I can give an example of just today. We were just joking around with my daughter, and
how old is Elle? How old is Elle?
8. He's 8.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were just joking around, and she was saying she wants to move to a different city and all that. And then I ask her the reason for moving. She gives me a totally different reason. And then I play with her mind. I ask her, what if I get married again? And then she just goes like, so like she was so shocked, like, what am I trying to say, that I'm going to get married again? So even I actually said that I'm going to have a conversation with her and try and understand what is this shock that she had, like when I told her I'm going to get married again so that we can move to this different city. So I think what Atom is saying is very right. Like, we need to actually talk to them, because they might have a perception about love that is actually wrong. And sometimes changing 20-year-olds or talking to 20, it is very hard. I got married when I was 20. I did not listen to anyone. So I wouldn't be on this show if I didn't get married when I was that young.
Very good point.
And I was 20, exactly 20. Yeah. So I think it's actually good to speak to them before. Yeah.
You know who needs to say. Sorry, go ahead, Oscar, before I bring in Eddie. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Sorry, if I can defend myself, no. For like what basically what I know, for men, and maybe one of you can testify. For men, sitting down and having this talk, it's really hard. It's a bit rough.
Okay. But
for women, they're so close to their kids that they tend to talk about everything. But for men, even men, like asking your daughter, have you studied your period? Or have you studied this? It's so tough. It's so hard for us, Even if I can tell you, there's a time even my daughter had the washroom that they were using at school. I think she got an infection. So when she came around, it was my niece who told me, like, you know what, Sarah is saying her private pastor teaching. So I was like, okay, I won't talk, but I told my niece, like, let's take her to the hospital. So my niece is the one who came with her at my workplace. We took her to the hospital. I didn't ask about anything, but later now I got again that courage and I started asking her, are you still eating? She was like, no, Dad, now you see. So from these topics, I think for me, that's why I'm saying men tend to avoid them. But as you're telling me that I'll try to start doing that. Thank you so much.
Yes, do. But thank God for you said your niece. You know, it's good, and I think it's so good that once someone is like you know you in your situation, sir, you know, having a daughter, it is a little, you know, like you said, awkward. It can be awkward because you're kind of like, oh gosh, you know, I'm walking on eggshells here. But having someone in the family, a female that's trusted in the family, that really helps. And I tell you, that could be the entry point to unpacking those things that, like June rightly said. Let me tell you, when you were 20, June, you have no idea what I was doing at 20. Okay, so I know better than you trying to tell you about red flags at 20. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's why I'm a single parent for a reason. Okay, right. So I understand you. So we don't. You, June and Oscar, your kids are younger than Ehi, and I feel Ehi is further ahead in her journey than you guys. One, with her kids' age and how long she's, you know, come around to this. Ehi, what are some things, you know, no pressure, but if you'd want to, what are some things that you would say to not just June and Oscar here, but any other single parent out there that may be listening? And what would you say to them about what the journey, especially now, carrying along the children to where they are? Because you just said something earlier. You said your kids have even said, encouraged you, mommy, get married. You know, what would you say to these two on here and any other single parent out there, you know, about just how far along, what that looks like, and when the kids are also involved in your life to that degree, that because they're old enough and they keep in touch with their dad, so they know full well it's not like their dad's somewhere in obscurity and so on and so forth. Dad's very much so, you know, part of their lives.
Yeah, so I was, when Mr. Oscar was talking, I was gonna say, before he even said as a guy, you know, it's hard for them, that was what came to my mind at first. If it doesn't naturally, guys don't like talking, you know. So I think for me, I think your children are like your training ground for your next marriage. Yeah, they will test you, they will test, especially teenagers, they'll test you. They would you learn how to forgive, you learn how to speak, you learn how to be intentional.
Oh wow.
And spending time, it's almost like, I feel like a training ground. You learn a lot of patience, you know, with your children. I mean, it's not like marriage where, you know, if it's not working out, then one person wants to go, nobody wants to keep. These are your children. You're not going to just chuck them out of the house because they're here to stay.
They're here to stay.
So you have to practice the fruit of the spirit.
Yeah.
You literally need to practice it. You have to practice endurance. You have to practice, okay, my daughter would say, Mom, when you were born, it was a different era. Now, this is how things are done. So you need to be able to, because as a Nigerian, when I'm talking, I'm very passionate. I'm sure Atom can attest to that. It's not like we're shouting, we're just very passionate about what we're saying. That's what we raise our voice. And she's like, when you're raising your voice, you need to put your voice down. So things like that are part of, calm down, chill. My daughter would say, chill, Mom, chill. I then not say chill to my mom, you know. So I've learned to accommodate a lot of things and just understand and see where they're coming from. It's not easy, like it will not be easy, but I think that's what marriage is about. You know, it's really like, so I see my children as a testing ground for where God is taking me in terms of when I get married.
Amazing. This has been amazing just hearing you guys share your journeys. Please feel free to go ahead and post your questions if you have any. Sis, go ahead.
So we are doing an event in Benin City. If you are watching from Nigeria and you live in Edo State, Benin City, or you want to fly into Benin City, we are organizing an event for single people, married people. It's called the Freedom Tour. So the vision is to go from city to city, from country to country, to preach about God's freedom. So this year we are actually focusing on relationship and marriage, and I'll be having guests as well. I will not just be the only coach. There will be another coach who will be present as well, and there will be a lovely time, worship, praise and worship. So if you're around the area, please, by all means, come there.
And he has an amazing ministry, and you can see just how far she's come. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching, for being a part of tonight's show, Single Parents Finding Love. And I think what we're taking away from our guests here from this panel is the fact that there is such a need to heal, so that, like June said, you are not bleeding over your children or your loved ones, and also not having, like what Oscar said, don't get the other person who you are potentially getting involved with to pay for what they have nothing to do with, absolutely. So, keep at it. And then obviously what I took away from Ahi, oh my goodness, go and live your life, okay? Your life did not end just because you are a single parent. This is just so amazing. And by the way, before we go, allow me to, because I wanted to ask this, and I said something about the fact that we are all Africans here, and but in different places. So this thing called therapy, therapy, guys, I have to throw this in. I know, yes, Adam, go. Ooh. Okay, June, you are a big fan of therapy. Like you this is what has brought you so far. I really believe that, absolutely. And Ahi, being the fact that she's a relationships coach, and even written a book and spoke so widely on this topic. Therapy, why is it that we frown on it so much as Africans, and not just even Africans in Africa, but Africans wherever you find them?
Because there's a stigma to it, right?
There's a stigma to it.
Yeah, and even when people are married, when you tell your spouse, let's go for therapy. Maybe we have issues in the marriage. Let's go. Like, you go. I'm not going. I've had that. I was told that as well. We're having issues. I think we need therapy. No, you go. I don't need it. So I think it's just that thing where people, they might do premarital counseling, but once they're in the marriage, they feel like they don't need any more advice or help. They can get that. And then even when the marriage is over, people just feel like it's people who are like, they have issues mentally, like they're going crazy. Right. Go for it. I mean, Nigerians think that. I don't know about other countries. Think if you're not crazy, why go for therapy? Like,
right.
So,
it's the mental. It's again like the mental health situation.
Yes, exactly. And I always say this: if you have a doctor and the doctor treats your body, who treats your soul and your mind? Right. God has given us people tools, and they know how to get along with this type of things. And I think we need to make good use of it. I'm actually branching into I'm on the journey now, so I'm studying to become a mental health nurse. So it's very important. It's a big deal. So it's good that we don't take these things for granted.
Amazing Jean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe it's just to add on to Ahi's, I think also this notion of Africans are strong. Like that perspective, we are very strong black woman. Exactly, strong black woman. You'd even see memes of like Africans running and tearing apart lions because we are that strong. You won't see like someone from the western side of the world like fighting with a lion, for example, right? Because we are very strong. So this being strong actually inhibits us from being vulnerable. So when you go to a therapist, like you're being vulnerable, right? Yeah. And actually women, as we go to therapists, but men, I'd like to hear from Oscar, like, why do men frown upon therapy? Why can't you just be vulnerable? It's a stranger. They don't know you, right? They don't know you. They'll know your business, but they won't know you. When you're done with that session, I don't think you'll meet anywhere else, right?
Right.
Yeah, but therapy is very good. I think that's, as you've said, that it has gotten me this far, apart from God being also in it as well, but it has gotten me this far, just dealing with all the pain and just talking to someone who kind of understands what grief is all about. Yeah.
Yeah. Oscar, sir, over to you.
Okay, for me, I will say I tried therapy. I went there for like I think two sessions, then I quit. Because basically I came and sat down and I felt like therapy it begins with you yourself. First, you need to accept yourself, accept that pain that you're going through, that accept that it's happening. One, you should be able to control your behavior. If you're a drunkard, stop drinking. Because me, I went through so much when I lost my kid and the mother of my kid walked away. So there's some of my cousins, they were like, oh, you know what, you are a strong man. Just pull through. And then the same guy, there's a cousin of mine who has lost a kid before me. So like the kid had passed away like 2 months before my son passed away. So for him, it was like, you know, look at me. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing good. But again, I came now after some months later. I saw him posting his son on WhatsApp status. When I call him, he cries. And I'm like, hey, you told me you're strong. What happened? So I think the way June's saying, therapy is good. But again, you should first be able to accept yourself, accept what you're going through. Because even if you go to the therapist and you're still coming back and you're still in denial, then it won't help. Right. For me, I was so much into denial. I had a lot of bitterness. I could go to the therapist. I'm looking at her. She's talking, and I'm like, I think she doesn't understand where I come from. So I came and sat down. I had to accept myself first. Then I think I pulled through it. Currently, it still comes back. But many people have told me therapy helps. But for me, the way you said, we believe men are strong. And I think that the society around you, even sometimes your parents, when you call your mom, she prays, but she's like, my son, you're strong, you'll pull through it. So I think you don't want to look weak, even in your family or even your church members. Sure. With them, like, let's just pray. But sometimes you pray, but again, you need to talk to someone who has an experience over that. So it took me long to be where I am because I did not therapy. But the way Juna said, if you go through therapy and you follow those procedures, I think you have a higher chances of recovering better than that person who is not going through the therapy, who is just saying, I'm strong.
I'm strong.
So if you avoid the society talk, because they tell you anything. Most people, they're like, even me, I lost my mom. I'm like, there's a difference between losing your mom and your son or your kid. Because a kid is someone you're seeing a future with them and is growing with you. So there's that. And your mom, you've already left him or her. So this kid is one that's around you. So the way June is saying, and here, people should go for therapy.
Yeah. So you approve therapy. Glory to God. Despite being told, oh, you're strong, you pull through. And I think those comments, to be fair, I think is just a lack of the right words to say, and just to sound like they're supporting you, like they're there for you, like they believe in you. Oh, you're strong, you'll pull through, you'll be just fine, sis, you'll be fine, bro, just go. Yeah, we get it, but in reality, it is okay not to be okay. And it's okay to have that therapy. And like Adam once said on this series, your pastor is not your therapist. She's very passionate about that. Okay, your pastor is your pastor. We thank God for your pastor. Yes, they'll pray for you. They will touch and agree with you in prayer and all that good stuff. But there are, if you feel okay, maybe a therapist is, not whatever. It's not Christian. Well, there are some that are just Christian, and they literally walk you through that.
I just want to add and tell them, I know when they tell you are strong, at that moment you are with them, you'll smile. But now when you come back to the house, now you are alone.
Exactly.
That's now when hell broke loose. Now that's the reality. So when they not saying you are strong because you are in their company, fight your own battle. Follow your heart. Tell them if it's therapy, go for it.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. So true. That's a good point. When you're with them, because they're there, you'll smile, you'll feel that. But then there are, when you go home, then what? Absolutely. It makes absolute sense. Listen, guys, this is it. We're bringing it to an end. It's been amazing talking to Miss June Kate-Reeves, all the way in Nairobi, Kenya, and Ahi right here in London, England. And of course, the gentleman in the picture with us tonight, Oscar Mumia, all the way in Mombasa, Kenya. And of course, my contributor, whom I say is the baby, well, I call her the baby of the family. She really is, but you would not be able to tell because she's just that smart. We're calling it a night all the way in China, right, Adam, in China. We're signing off, people of God. We're saying thank you. Join us next week as we talk about 40 and above, finding love. Yes, we are going there, people of God. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Love y'all, and come back next week and head over to our YouTube channel and catch up with all the shows that we had over on Insta Live, because they're uploaded on there, the Maggie Morgan Show. You will love that. We had a great one, by the way, dealing with parental disapproval and expectations versus reality. Woo, that one's a good one. Head over there, people of God. Thank you so much. This is it, people of God. On behalf of myself, on behalf of my contributor and my guests tonight, thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye.